Hello friends, I am Dr. Vinayak. So in the previous classes of the ecology, we are studying the ecological factor. In that we will study the climatic factor. That continue with the another one, that's a topographic factor. So usually the topographic factor is the geographical factors that's mainly consist of the edaphic factors. So what are edaphic factors? The factor which related to the soil structure and the composition. So those are generally referred as the edaphic factors. What about soil? Soil is a complex medium that usually consists of the 40% mineral matters and 10% organic matter, 15% of water and 25% air. So totally this is a composition of the soil, and usually the soil is a basic source for the growth and development of the plant, because whatever the mineral and nutrient, they will get it from the soil, and even the water also that will be get from the soil. So this is how actually the soil different layers of the soil will be occurs. That's a soil, water, soil organic matter and inorganic molecules. All these that will be includes the mineral that consists of calcium, magnesium, iron. So like that, the already we are studied in the physiology, that's a macro and micronutrient, that all comes under the soil, mineral and the nutrient. And these are how actually the soil biota will be occurs. The different layers of the soil will covers the different group of the soil organisms. The edaphic factor, that's especially the soil texture, soil pH, soil nutrient and the organic matter, and even the edaphic factor that will re-roll the how actually the uptake of the mineral and organic matter will be takes place in the plant, and also the functioning of the soil that will help for the anchoring. So all is related to the edaphic factor. So in that you will also study the soil fertility and weathering of the rock, how actually the soil formation will occurs, and the different size of the particles. Based on the different size of the particle, the soil into different types. The particle size of the soil is less than 0.002 millimeter, then it is called clay. So if the soil particle is ranges from 0.002 to 0.06, then it is called slit, or it's all silt. So and if it is a 0.06 to 2 mm, then it is called as a sand, clay, silt and the sand. So these are the different types of the soils will be occurs in the nature. And sometimes the loamy soils will also occur, and the sand will not hold the water. First, going to the soil profile, there are different horizons in the soil profile. That's the first outermost layer or the upper layer of the soil that consists of the organic matter. That region is referred as a O horizon. Usually the upper topmost layer of the soil usually that covers with the organic matter, litters and other materials. That's a O horizon. And the top soil is referred as a horizon. Subsoil is referred as a B horizon, and the weathering of the rock region consists of the C horizon and even the D horizon. In the last motor zone is called as a R horizon. That's a bed of the rock surface, that's the R horizon. So mainly O, A, B, C. So all these regions are the very important for the plant, because so usually O, A, B, that only the plant root will be penetrate. C and the R zone, then plant will be not growing much more. So just look at the soil profile. That's already I told, that's the outermost layer of the soil, that's O horizon. The again A horizon is divided into A1, A2, A3 zone. A1 region have the rich humus region. A2 region have the maximum leaching region of the soil, and the A3 region, it is a transition zone between the B and the A zone. So B zone consists of B1, B2, B3 region. So usually the here the granular structure of the soil will occurs. Here also that will be soil will be root will be penetrate in the soil. And usually sea origin is a thick mosses, and that will be consist of the mineral and the other materials. So usually the water is logged in the sea origin, and usually sometimes the rich sulfite and zinc will be occurs. But the D and R origin is very less. The plant root will not penetrate in that region. Based on the soil texture, there are different types. Already I told that's 0.002 mm soil is called as a clay, and the 0.002 to 0.02 is called silt, and if it is 0.02 to 2 mm it's a sand. And even the sand have the coarse and the fine gravel sands will be there. That's 0.2 to 2 mm is called coarse sand, and 2 to 5 mm is called gravel, and above is called as a complete the enlarged gravel. That's a large size of the soil particles will be there. So these will key role in the development of the plant. That's the soil texture. Based on that fine texture, that's a clay soil will be more clay, and loamy soil will be there. How actually this is a type of the soil will occur. So this picture is showing the different soil structure. That's a granular, blocky soil, and plasmatics like that. And coming to the physical properties of the soil, that's the density, porosity, soil temperature, soil permeability, and water holding capacity. That will decide the how actually the plant will grow in the particular that soil. So usually, especially the soil water, this matters a lot. If the soil holding good water content, naturally the plant will be grow very easily. There are different types of soil waters. That is, whatever the soil is generally occurs, the total water present in the soil is referred as a hollard, and water absorbed by the plant. Whatever the soil water is present, that will be absorbed by the plant, that is called as a chesard, and whatever the amount left in the soil, that is referred as a ecard. The total water present in the soil is referred as a hollard. Generally in the examination you will ask what is hollard. That means the total water content of the soil, that is called as hollard. And there are different types of the soil water. That's gravitational water. It is a free water moving down due to the gravity. The next one is a hygroscopic water. Here the water held tightly by the soil particles. Next one is a capillary water. Here the water is held by the capillary forces. And the next one is a combined water. Here the chemically bound to the soil surfaces, and the water vapor. This uncombined form of the water, that's the soil moisture. So like that, gravitational, hygroscopic, capillary, combined, and the water vapor that will occur in the soil. So chemical properties of the soil, there are different chemical components. That's the inorganic and organic materials will be present in the soil. The inorganic matter like calcium, magnesium, iron, zinc, sodium, and also some traces element like zinc, cobalt, copper, that will be occurs in the soil. Organic matter, that's amino acids and so many purines, pyrimidines, sugars, alcohols, fatties. So all these present in the soil. So all these will help for the growth and development of the plant. And usually the next is a soil pH. That the soil pH is ranges. So 7 is a neutral pH. So but the soil pH may be 2 to 9 pH varies with the different soil. So if the soil pH is increases, what happens? The calcium availability will be increases. That will also affect on the nitrogen availability. Next, soil enzymes. So many enzymes are present in the soil that will help for the maintaining of the soil fertility, and that will biocatalyst of the soil reactors. And soil humus, that's very important in the soil. That soil humus usually the more or less there are different types of the soil humus are there. That's a more, moder, and the mull. The more is the least decomposed humus. Moder is the transition stages of the decomposer. Mull is a fully decomposed organic matter. So like that, there are different types of the soil humus will be occurs. The soil humus sometime maybe especially in for the small herbaceous plant and some of the plant, it will be very important. In the mull usually they consist of the nitrogen carbon ratio, that's a 10, and the neutral pH will be occurs, and it create a stable mineral organic complex in the soil. And the soil organisms, that is the soil biota, there are different soil biota will be occurs. The soil organisms is generally classified into soil microflora and macrophylla. So usually macroflora consists of the especially the that's axolophytes and halophytes. So like that, the soil microflora, especially bacteria, virus, algae, fungi will be occurs. So usually the microbes that will key role in the soil fertility. Fungi will help for the decomposition. Even the bacteria will also help for the especially actinomycetes. They will key role when you get the soil smell after the first rainy season because of these actinomycetes in the soil. So usually 6 to 12 inches of the soil consist of the microbial population. So usually the especially soil microflora, that's the protozoans, nematodes, sometimes maybe causes the diseases in the due to the some micro protozoans and nematodes. And the soil macroflora, that's aniridae, earthworms. Earthworms is very essential to maintain the soil fertility. They convert the organic humus rich soil. So like that, these organisms that they act as a soil biota in the soil. These are the, and rhizosphere and the soil, that's usually that's soil environment under the influence of the plant root, that's called as a rhizosphere. Especially in the mycorrhiza you will study this rhizosphere concept. You will that consist of the soil microflora, macroflora and mesoflora, and the soil component that mainly consist of the organic matter and the soil water I already told. This is how the soil organisms. The picture itself, that's some milliphids. These are all the macrophoras. That's mite and beetles and earthworms, centipedes, spiders. All these exist in the soil as a soil micro and the macroflora, especially the soil macroflora. Next, going to the biotic factors. What we all study, all these are the abiotic factors of the environment. There are ecological factor. In that we will study the abiotic factor. It's a climatic factor and the topographic factor, edaphic factor. So this is in that another one concept. This is the biotic factor. What is a biotic factor? That's the how actually in the environment the plant and the animals will be interact. In the biotic factor of the environment, that concerns all plant, animals and the microbes. Especially the plant will have a intimate relationship with the ecological factors than the other factors. So usually the biotic factors, any living component in the environment is considered as a biotic factor. So usually all green plant are referred as a producers, and whatever the other factors they refer as a consumers. So in the consumers, usually the herbivores, omnivores and also the carnivores will be there, and the decomposers, that's microbes, they will also key role in the ecological factor, that may be bacteria, fungi, all these as considered as a decomposer. So this is how the structure of the biotic component in the ecosystem, that's the primary producers, that's consumers, and also the secondary, tertiary consumers. So usually the primary consumers that consist of some insects and other things, and the small predators they comes under the secondary consumers. So like that, but all green plant whatever the growing in a environment, so those are called as a producers. And decomposers, they will all bacteria, fungi, they are also the they are the one factor that will be help for the maintaining of ecological balance. But another one factor apart from the ecological factor and also the climatic factor and the biotic factor, there will be another factor that is called as a anthropogenic factor. Because of the human interference in the environment, there is a certain factor will be exist, those are all referred as a anthropogenic factor. These anthropogenic factor will affect on the both climatic and biotic factor in the environment. So this is how we study the biotic factor and the abiotic factor, so in the environment. So just I will ask you some basic questions. So what you are looking the photographs is they comes under the which factor? Is it a biotic factor or the abiotic factor? Yes, your answer is right. So this is the abiotic factor. And what about this? This is a biotic or the abiotic factor? This picture you are already shown. This is a mushroom. So what is that? Yes, your answer is right. This is the biotic factor. Especially they are the decomposers, key role in the environment. What about this? This is a rock. So is a biotic or the abiotic factor? So yes, this is the abiotic factor of the environment, or it comes under the that's especially topographic factor, that's the soil. So this is how actually the different factor will affect in the environment. That's a climatic factor, topographic factor, edaphic factor. The over just I have covered all the things. That's a climatic factor, that's a light, temperature, precipitation, humidity, wind, how actually the interaction with the vegetation, and the topographic factor, and the edaphic factor, that's a soil type, soil moisture, soil profile, and mineral of the soil, and soil pH, soil organic matter, soil humus, and the soil microorganisms, and the biotic factor, that's all producers, consumers, and the decomposers, that comes under the biotic factor. So this is how the ecological factor will occurs, but there will be so many laws to explain the how actually the interaction will occurs in the nature. So this is a graph is showing the interactions between the different organisms, that's the plant animal interactions in the environment, that was explained the of inhibition in the Shelford law of tolerance, that will explain how actually the interactions will occurs in the nature. So this is an presentation. So that's just what you are looking, that's a complete general account on the ecological factor, that's mainly climatic, topographic, edaphic, all these are the abiotic factors, and the plant, animals, and decomposers, these are the biotic factors of the environments. So this how actually the complete account on the chapter, that is the ecological factor. I hope you will got the concept of the ecological factor and the role of these ecological factors in the vegetation. So I hope you will understand all this concept. So if you have any doubts, so you can clarify with the next live session. I think this is a simple and easy concept in the plant ecology paper. So because all the whatever you have studied in ecology, it's very easy. That's ecological factor, ecosystem, or the plant succession. In the 4th unit you will have some easy concept, but it is easy to write answer also. I hope we'll got this all concept in a very easily understandable manner. Thank you for your patience listening.